Why Asian women don't date Asian men?
What is your type?
No Asian guys.
So what exactly is this no Asian dating policy? Well, it's essentially the policy some girls have where they just don't date Asian guys.
White boys.
I'm not into Asian guys.
Oh, he looks like my brother.
This is actually quite common with certain Asian girls, as you'll hear the excuse, I don't date Asian guys since they remind me of my brother. This actually makes no sense since you don't really hear this too often from girls of different races, but for some reason when it comes to the Asian community, this excuse is quite rampant. I've heard it a number of times in my own life, and I've also had a lot of Asian friends who can relate.
Why don't you like Asian guys?
Asian guys remind me of my brother.
What the heck?
And that's why.
You don't date Asian guys?
I've never known.
Are you a race traitor?
No, like...
See, this is why we as Asian men know that there's something off. This is not simply normal, this preference, if you will, with half mixed Asian and white children, these Wasians who don't find Asian guys attractive. Like, that's simply not normal. If you took like a half white, half black girl, she wouldn't simply say like, oh, white guys aren't attractive or black guys aren't attractive. This is learned behavior. Sure, there are preferences, but this goes far beyond that. And this is also why so many Asian guys think that these type of women, Asian or full Asian, that this type of thought process is like the majority of Asian. It's not, but it is a vocal and quite, large, if not the majority of Asian women. So yeah, this is like completely abnormal. And I suspect, having taught like hundreds of half Asian clients, that these Asian women, their father is probably white while their mother is Asian, and they've been taught either directly or just kind of unconsciously absorbed that Asian, their part of Asian identity is inferior to white. That at any time they look at an Asian man, it doesn't match up to the kind of taught cultural superiority of their white father, and their white father probably never dissuaded them. Like, he could completely treat like his Asian wife as normal, but behind the scenes, amongst others or to his own children, that Asian men are inferior, that there's something off about Asian men. Or even if the Asian mother knows, she's not going to dissuade this feeling that somehow the Asian family, community, culture, history, foods is not inferior if the white father says or indicates that it is. Because you don't simply grow up thinking that your racial features are inferior, not attractive when you look in the mirror, unless society or someone has been teaching you that. Like a heterosexual white woman or white man doesn't look at like the opposite gender and think, oh, they're not attractive. They naturally are. So to these women, whether they're Asian or full Asian that have this thought process, ask yourself, when you have children, are you going to pass on that internalized racism, especially if it's an Asian son who is fully Asian passing, there's no white passing features at all? Because maybe when they're children, I've seen this, the children, maybe they're mixed, right? They could pass, but as they grow older, their features will become more Asian dominated, typically. And what are you going to indicate to them? That they are unattractive, that they are inferior? Like, come on, check your internalized racism, girl. But to all my Asian brothers out there, have heart. I've been helping Asian guys be successful and confident with all types of women and to be attractive. So if you want to learn more, follow the Asian Dating Coach.
Telling me not to date a Singaporean or a Chinese guy.
People are telling you not to date a Singaporean Chinese guy, probably because you will never hear the end of your racial differences.
So I got a few comments about like not being able to date Asian men because of this, and I have a lot to say. I used to always want to date and marry an Asian guy. It was kind of like a no-brainer because language and culture is important to me, and I also want them to become a part of my family and like be close to my parents. And so being able to speak Chinese and Shanghainese even was kind of like a high up on the like checklist. But guess what? Asian guys that I thought were hot didn't like me, and then Asian guys that did like me, which was almost like non-existent to be honest, were not tall enough for me because I'm pretty tall. So it was a whole dilemma. And yeah, I don't think I grew up ever having any guys like have a crush on me because I never fit their beauty standards and
she was saying like, I don't date Asian guys because like growing up, my mom told me not to.
My mom
Yeah.
told me since I was a young girl that not to be with an Asian guy.
I think a lot of the Lu come from like their parents. If the mom is like saying like, oh, don't date Asian guys, it's just gonna get ingrained in them.
Exactly.
Especially because their mom's Asian too, so they're like, oh, well, if she's Asian,
Right.
then she knows. But the stupid part about that is like, there's literally like 100 different Asian races.
Oh, yeah.
So for them to like say Asian, they're like Korean or something.
Right,
Like,
right,
you don't know
right.
anything about like Japanese people, for example. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
I don't know. That's a weird argument, but it is what it is. It's an uphill battle.
I prefer not to be with an Asian guy.
When these girls grow up, their parents are saying they want them to date like a white person.
I actually prefer white guys.
I saw this girl on Fresh and Fit. I remember her.
So Asian women are always with white men, and those relationships always work. Why? Because Asian women are submissive to white men. Why? Ask me why. Because the white men, particularly in World War II, obliterated Japan. Okay? We literally radiated, we burned men alive with radiation. Fucking Asian women saw this, and they saw that the white men that came from America and England and wherever to radiate their country defeated their men. That's why you always see Asian women with white men. Now, everyone's like, okay, well, that was in the World War II, those are the 40s. Well, it passes on. Okay, and we've always attacked Asian countries, Vietnam, whatever.
Have been very unsupportive on my content, calling me unattractive.
I'm sorry, you don't deserve that. I know how that feels. I've been told that I've been too thin and effeminate, to too fat and obese, to even when I lose weight and become muscular, now I'm an emaciated lizard. I think it just goes to show that we're not going to fit into any kind of standard of beauty because we're Asian American, not really part of either world. Although on the topic of, Asian men versus Asian women, this has been ongoing for generations for a variety of reasons. I mean, I think that you can date whoever you want, so long as you don't shit on your own culture and people. Like, you can be confident and not put women down, and an Asian woman can date white men, so long as you're not like saying, oh, Asians' identity, culture, history suck. And unfortunately, there are a few, a vocal minority, but they are there. Again, though, you don't deserve that, and I hope the best for you.
I saw this video from this Korean content creator, and she just came forward about how she is reluctant to date Korean men, how growing up in an extremely traditional and misogynistic household shaped her to feel that way about Korean men, and that pissed off a lot of men. And so in turn, a lot of men stitched her video saying that she had internalized racism, and the reason why she has all this internalized racism is because she's singling out Asian men for their misogyny, even though misogyny exists in every other culture everywhere else. I also saw some male content creators that I really enjoyed give some pretty disappointing answers to. Surprise, surprise, the majority of the stitches to that video were incredibly unempathetic, and that is because the majority of men don't take misogyny seriously. You can never really have an honest conversation about dating preferences, especially in the Asian community, because every time Asian women bring up valid reasons as to why they're reluctant to date Asian men, typically because of misogyny, the vast majority of Asian men respond in this inane and stupid game of whataboutism. They don't deny the existence of misogyny in Asian culture, also don't address how much internalized misogyny that they might have had growing up in these misogynistic households and cultures. They don't want to do the work. So what do they do instead? They deflect. They blame. Their argument becomes, what about white men? What about black men? What about Hispanic men? Aren't they misogynistic too? Is it any different for us? That's why this collective conversation about Asian dating preferences can never happen.
And people are always like, you don't like Asian guys? I'm like, no, I like regular people.
Esther Q, the mother Lou. Maybe the name is actually from her, because like she is, I'd say, like the godmother of Lus. She takes it to a whole different level, since most Lus nowadays, the modern day Lu, they're known for saying like more surface level, oh, I don't like Asian guys because they remind me of my brother, or we're too similar, you can't learn anything from them. Esther Q, the mother Lu, takes it a step further by putting down like Asians in general, making like small eye jokes, like bad driver jokes. Any Asian joke in the book, she makes it in her comedy routines, and that's how she's built her following of like people for comedy, basically, is like riding off of that wave.
Especially against Asian guys too. Like all her clips are shitting on Asian men.
Exactly. Like she pretty much calls them, like, she doesn't even consider them like humans, so it's pretty bad.
Why I don't date Korean men. Don't cancel me for this.
It's internalized racism. Like, the only person you're fooling is yourself. This is a good example of the difference between a reason and a justification, though, right? Because a justification is when you give evidence for something that you already want to believe. And that's what you did. You kind of searched your experience for negative experiences with Korean men in order to reinforce the decision that you already made to not date Korean men. And to be honest, people with internalized racism, they shouldn't date anybody. They shouldn't even date interracially, because you may very well have a son and your son will be Korean and he's going to have to deal with the trauma that you haven't worked on.
And there have been a lot of interesting statistics around this stuff. Like, Asian men just have to make more money to play on a level ground with any other race. Like, when it comes to online dating, they're ranked the lowest. And it's just like, you're hitting down, you know, when you're attacking Asian men in this manner. And so I'm just like, there's no point in doing that.
I don't know if you guys have the same For You page as I do, but lately I've just been seeing a lot of back and forth from Asian women and Asian men, and it typically goes like this. Like, the Asian woman is like, oh yeah, like, never catch me dating an Asian man, and then the Asian man always claps back and goes like, okay, we don't really want you anyways. And like, yeah, I get that.
What's up, I'm Anthony.
Age and sign.
32.
Have you seen all the "what race wouldn't you date" videos, and all these women respond with Asians?
What race wouldn't you
Here's
date?
an example.
Wouldn't we date?
Wouldn't we date? Wouldn't you date? Asians.
Asians.
Oh my, why Asians?
I just haven't seen attractive.
Nerdy, student, computer geek, weak, effeminate. I've heard it all about Asian males. I want to show you a collection of men that are none of those things. Respectfully.
32, and I'm a Scorpio. Is AD? I'm 32 years old, and I'm an Aquarius. Whatever that means. 32, and I'm a Capricorn. Alex, 31, similar.
My Pisces, follow up my name under the thrift, my picture page, that's my last name.
Yo, what's up, I'm Anthony.
Age and sign.
32, Aries. Andrew, my sign is Libra, and I'm 30 years old. He's a doctor. Chris, 31, and a Capricorn.
What's your name, what's your sign, what's your age?
I don't want this.
Come on.
Oh, I'm 31. So the question was, Capricorn and Aquarius.
Age?
33, Aries.
Yeah.
Dated 31. There we go. Angelo, 31, and Aries. Name's Johnny.
Stop stereotyping people. People?
I'm 20, and I'm in sales.
What's your sign?
Oh, my sign? I'm toxic Scorpio. Dylan, age 31, Pisces. David, 32, Capricorn.
I like the BBC and some BBC. That's the type of shit that make a bitch DTD.
Have you dated many Korean boys?
I've only dated Asian men.
Only Asian men, okay.
Like a kid, I dated Western guys back home, but it never did that for me.
How long have you been in Korea?
4 years.
4 years! So what's the difference between Asian men and Western men, and what's your preference?
Asian men take care of their skin and take pride in their appearance, whereas Western men don't really give a shit. They dress in tracksuits and their skin is not good. You're not wearing a tracksuit, darling.
Hey, hello friends, have you subscribed yet? Yes, press the subscribe button and the like button and the share button. Thank you and have a nice day.